let me start with what branding is not. Okay, branding is not our logo. It's not our logo. That's not branding. Branding is not our website. It's not our marketing plan. That's not branding. It's whether it's your business strategy, your brand culture, or business culture, or company culture. That's not what branding is. They all make up branding per se. They all make up branding. And you get the designs, you get the strategies, you get the culture, you put them all together. They all make up branding. That's what it is. So I'll start by talking about what do we mean when we say a brand, and like any good brand strategies or any good designer will tell you this. When we say, or any good business developer will tell you this. When we talk about a brand, we mean people's gut feeling. That is the way you feel about. It can be a product, it can be a company, it can be anything. However you feel about something, that's what a brand is. So it's a gut feeling. So when I think of Apple, what comes to my head? What gut feeling do I get when I think of Apple? That's brand and all. What's that gut feeling when I think of Dangote? What's that gut feeling when I think of Juice Pro Selectable? Like, that's branding. What's that gut feeling when I think of Chef Corps? That's brand per se. So branding, on the other hand, it's what you do to enforce that gut feeling I have, to more or less, either encourage the feeling or give me something like, oh, okay, I actually felt this about these guys, but no, from what they're doing right now, I was actually wrong. So branding is whatever. It can be an organization, it can be a person, whatever you're doing to more or less create some sort of perception about yourself. That's what branding is. Now look at it this way, because no matter what whether you're a business or an individual, everybody brands. Take a look at this. We have mothers here, right? When you give birth, people came to the hospital or came to the house to come see you and the kid, your child, family and friends. They come together. They come, pick the kid up, like, wow, congratulations. He has the mother's eyes. He has the father's nose. He looks like the mother, or she looks like the mother, or she looks like the father. See, let's be clear here. The child isn't talking. That's a baby, for crying out loud. Like, but we are already giving our opinion of the baby. So we're looking at the baby. We're like, oh, yeah, you look like your dad. You look like your mom. So we already have an opinion about the baby, and the baby isn't even doing anything to enforce that opinion. So we are already branding the baby. That's pretty much what it is. We're already branding the baby. So we'll find out that whatever you do, regardless of whether you decide to brand or be intentional about your branding or not, people will still brand you. So if people are still going to brand you regardless, why don't you be intentional about it? So that's a lot going on there and all. So I just want to clear that out and get us to understand that when we say branding, it has nothing to do with designing a logo, website. They're all part of what we call brand identities or brand identity elements and all that. They fall under that. They are not branding. Branding involves both your culture, your strategy, your identity, your human resource, your corporate management. They all make up branding. That's what it is. So I don't know if I'm confusing anybody, or does anybody need any clarification at this point when we talk about branding. If you need any clarification, please let me know. You can raise your hand, or you can just let me know. So do we have anybody confused or that wants to get any clarification on what I just talked about? Okay, so the timekeeper said I can start. So quickly, I'm going to talk about 10 immutable laws of branding, and these are laws that I believe that 100 years from now, they're still going to be very valid, and they're still going to be very important when it comes to whether you can apply this to yourself, your personal branding. You can apply this to your corporate branding or business branding, whether you're an employee or whether you're a business owner. I will advise and all, but at the end of the day, it's still your decision to make. So there are more. I actually brought out this. I actually extracted this 10 from 22. There are actually 22 immutable, according to the book, the 22 immutable laws of branding by Ries and Laura Ries. That's the husband and wife, because they researched a lot and came up with 22 immutable laws of branding. But I decided to pick out 10 that I believe they are important to us, not just as businesses or as people, but as businesses, people, or individuals living in Nigeria. So that's why I decided to let me just pick out these 10 that are quite important. So I'll start by the first. And so I think the first law here in the immutable laws, the first is the law of expansion. So this law of expansion, so quickly, Kenneth, I also made you a moderator. In case people are joining, you can invite them to speak and all, so that I don't get distracted, please. I'm looking at. All right. Okay, so the first point, or the first law, the first immutable law that I picked is what we call the law of expansion. This simply, the power of a brand is inversely proportional to its scope. That's what it says. And it means that the wider your scope, or the broader your scope as a business, the more the power of your brand diminishes. You find out that your brand power begins to weaken as a result of your scope being too wide or too large, or you being in multiple categories and all that. So, especially we find out that most big brands or people that have, or businesses or people that have money tend to and I'm also going to link this from business to individuals as well. People that have money tends to fall into this trap, because I'm big, I have the resources, I have the money to do this, I can do this, I can study, I can be a lawyer, I can study law, I can study medicine, I can study architecture, so you see, you're increasing your scope, you're increasing your scope and all that. You're not focusing on anything, you're just doing everything and all that. So the more you do, the more a brand expands, the less powerful it becomes. Now look at one popular Nigerian brand that fell victim to this is Star. There was a time Star introduced Starlight, what was the other one again? There were so many brands of Star. At the end of the day, Star today is not as powerful as it used to be when it just had that original Star brand, or that original Star beer and all that. And we find out that there's so many businesses that tend to think, let me just increase my scope and be in so many categories. It's just like today, when you hear that Apple is into the food industry now. Apple have left phones, personal computers. I know they are going into electric cars and all that. So they've left these things and they decided to go into clothing. Apple have decided to go into clothing and become a competitor with the likes of Dolce & Gabbana or Chanel, or Apple have decided to go into processing foods and all that. It doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, it just diminished the power Apple has over time and all. And some businesses think that because of the short-term money they get, because people, if you remember when Indomie, it was Indomie, they had this relish pack that came, they brought in celebrities, they pushed that thing, that the black this thing, they pushed it all, and the campaign was massive for a period of time. At the end of the day, where is it today? It's as good as dead and all that. So you only get that short-term buzz or that short-term this thing. That's if you end up even making money out of it. But you find out that in the long run, it's always important to keep your brand narrow, to keep your brand focused in terms of its scope. And so your customers want your brand to be narrow in terms of their scope, and let it be differentiated. They don't want a brand like that is everywhere, you're into everything. People don't really fancy someone that a jack of all trade and master of none. Honestly, yeah, people don't fancy that. Just imagine in the office, you're the MD, you're the manager, you're the HR, you're the security guy, you're like that's pretty much what that's a basic way to explain this law to you. So it's always good to narrow the focus. Another example of this is when Colgate in 1982 decided to go into kitchen entrees and all that. What the hell Colgate is? We know Colgate to be toothpaste, but for some reason they decided, we had so much money, we want to go into the food business. Of course it failed, because it's always going to fail. People knew and know Colgate for one particular category. So if you have to extend in your category. That's the best way to do that. Now, the second immutable laws I'm going to advise you to obey or not to obey is the law of contraction. And it's like the opposite of the first law. A brand becomes stronger when you narrow your focus. The best and the basic way to explain this to you is this. Now imagine that you have a knee injury. Imagine you have a knee injury and you need to be operated on, and you get to the hospital. Would you prefer a surgeon who specializes only on knee injury to take a look at your knee, or will you prefer a doctor that is into everything, a general practitioner? Which of them will you prefer? My guess is that you'll prefer the former, right? Now, talk to pregnant women. Like, will you prefer a doctor that his focus or his specialization is into what do they call these guys? Maybe the moms can help me out. The guys that are just focused on pregnant women and children and all that. So you find out that pregnant women, like, yeah, I know we have issue of people. Sorry? Yeah, thank you very much. Gynecologist, like, you will prefer that guy. You prefer a gynecologist to be your guy or your lady in terms of a doctor when you're pregnant, or when you want you have your child checked up on, than just a general doctor. So that's the basic way to define this. So like I said, here you're narrowing your scope. You're no longer broadening it. You're no longer expanding your scope. You're narrowing it to something. And when doctors are another perfect example. The school, they first of all become these general practitioners before they branch out and start specializing and all that. And it's always good to be a specialist. People tend to like, when I specialize, I will lose a lot of customers here, or I'll lose, or people will just know me for this one particular thing. Trust me, when you're good at one particular thing, that's all it takes. That is all it takes for you to be out there in the world. When you're good at one particular thing, name the companies the brands you know of today, the people we know of today. Ben Carson, we know Ben Carson today of one particular thing, like of being a surgeon and all, and they conjoined the brain surgery he did. And think a lot of people, Donald Trump, real estate, what call them I'm trying to but just generally, like, history always remember people that are specialized in a particular industry, because that way you get to dive deep in that industry, you get to dive deep in that profession or whatever it is you're doing in your office. Just imagine now working in the office. Now you take a course to specialize in human resource management, HR and all, and then you've been banging the course, you've been adopting what you've been learning, and the business and the company can see that, of course, when it comes to HR, you're killing it and all that. You're more likely to see yourself fast or easily promoted, and you see yourself like going to the next step easily and fast than someone that just comes in and, oh, I'm doing everything today, I'm in the HR unit, tomorrow I'm in the marketing unit and all that. You're just jumping from here. Okonji Wala, we know her today because she's specialized when it comes, she's a specialist and all that. So the law of contraction just makes your brand stronger when you focus on this. And I'm going to be, so I'm also going to use myself in all that. Recently, not so recently, last year, we introduced the business in Abuja here, and it's a logistic business and all that. Now, what we try to do when we saw that, when it comes to logistics, or when it comes to our third-party logistics, that's the bike guys and all that. If you stay in Abuja, and also you see that if you're in Lagos, I believe you can count up to 20 to 30 different. I'm talking about different. I'm not talking about you see the same company, like different brands when it comes to these logistics or these dispatch riders on your way from work or through and through. Like in a day, you can find 20 to 30 different. Now in Abuja, you can see that, and the guys that stay in Abuja can bear me witness with that. Different guys and all that. So how do you distinguish yourself? How do you differentiate and all? The best way to differentiate is focus on a particular category, to specialize and all that. And that's what we decided to do. And that's when in specializing, we decided to focus on cakes, to deliver just cakes and all. And it became a beautiful thing because we became the first in Abuja. And when I had that conversation with a lot of people at start, I was like, "Oh, are you sure you're going to be making money here? Like, how many times do people celebrate birthday every day?" Trust me, it's actually starting this business that I understand that actually people celebrate birthday every day. Every day is someone's birthday. Every day is someone's birthday. Yes, the order may not be coming in every day, but people always celebrate birthdays. And unlike what people thought was going to happen, because I wasn't focusing on delivering this, delivering that I was going to be losing money, it hasn't been the case. And it has been very easy to gain traction, to gain relevance in the market, because people are beginning to know, these guys are they specialize in this. Because you're niched down and you're specializing in this, it's easier for them to call you. So that's a fantastic way. It's Tesla. What Tesla is doing today, they are into electric vehicles and all that. So imagine that if Tesla is into electric vehicles and into the fossil fuel vehicles, and probably into agriculture as well and all, I'm pretty sure it will not have made Elon Musk the richest man in the world today. So that's the second law that you should note, the law of contraction. Now the third law is the law of publicity. So now at the end, I'm going to say something here, but that's when I talk about the next law. The third law is the law of publicity. The bet of your brand, or the bet of yourself as a person. So your bet as a person, or the bet of your business, is achieved through publicity and not advertising. And a lot of people get to confuse publicity and advertising, but they're not the same. Now, when you talk about publicity, you're talking about public visibility. Now, publicity, it's more of like an unpaid promotional activity, and which is done by a third party. You're not even the one. Like, publicity is created from the outside. The public creates publicity for you. Yeah, you see people talking about you, all these, whether scandals or this person fighting with this person that we hear online and all that, all these are publicities, because we are talking about these guys for free. We're talking about this business for free. Like, they're not paying us to talk about them, but we see them, we're trending. You see, you come on Twitter, something is trending, we're giving publicity to them because they're not paying for it. While on the other hand, advertising is paid promotion. Like, now you're paying for these services, you're paying to promote your brand, you're paying to promote yourself. That's different. So understand. So the way you build yourself, or the way you give birth to a business, or the way you give birth to, you want to announce yourself in that your office, is by publicity. And the best way to generate a positive publicity is one of the best way to generate a positive publicity when it comes to businesses, or when it comes to you as a person, is to create what I call a new category. Understand? Like, when I say create what I call a new category, like, it's like what we did at Yummy Drop. By focusing on just delivering just cakes, we created a new category. It's different. Now, the guys in Abuja can bear me witness in this. There are not so many. You rarely find specialized dispatch in the businesses in Abuja. So by becoming specialized, we created a new category. For the first time ever, people are seeing that there's a dispatch company that focuses on just delivering cakes, and that has created publicity for us. We've gotten more from publicity than we've ever gotten from advertising and all, and that is huge. Now, say let's play this scenario in more of like a corporate, because there are people in the corporate world as well. Because I don't want people to feel like, because I'm not doing a business, this is not for me. Trust me, I know there are people that will do business and there are people that will be employees, so it's perfect. That's how the world works. Now, imagine you are the first to do something in your place of work. You're the first to be known for something. You're the first marketing guru. You're the first sales guru. Or you're the first to crack that code, that mysterious, probably one of, let's use bank for example. You find a bank station in a particular place and they're not making profit and all that for over years. In fact, since that branch has been there, they've not been making profit, or for some reason they put you in that branch, or whether it's as a hotel manager, a bank manager, whatever it is, or even as a staff, you pull off some sort of tactics, you pull off some sort of strategy, you bring in some sort of strategy that started bringing money and all that. You see, you become the first at that, and it gives you public visibility, because now the management is definitely going to talk about you. They're like, oh wow, what's happening? Like, from this report, this guy or this lady is doing incredibly well. You find out that at the end of the day they are giving you publicity. See, the worst publicity, or bad publicity, is actually no publicity, honestly, because even the negative ones work. The time we take talking about people that are trending, whether for good or bad, you find out that a million people are searching about one particular person, and you see the person just the person getting unpaid visibility and all that. So as a business, what grows your business, what gets you into the door, and what bets your business, or what bets you as a person, is actually publicity and not advertising. And that takes me to the next law, which is the law of advertising. Now, let's talk about advertising now. Once you're born as a business, once you're born as the guru in your place of work, what you need now to stay healthy is now advertising. Look at it this way. Coca-Cola, it was publicity. If you read up Coca-Cola's history, like when they started, this cola drink that, okay, back then they used to add a little element of cocaine to it and all that, but it started as a medicinal stuff that could heal all sort of diseases and everything back then, because people were kind of like were easily to be deceived and all that. So, but that publicity brought it into the market before finally people took it, commercialized it, made it a product, and people became addicted to Coca-Cola and all that. Right now, today, you see Coca-Cola still, after over 100 years, they're over 100 years old, billions of dollars every year. Like, there's no year Coca-Cola is, I think it's only in Cuba and North Korea that Coca-Cola doesn't have a presence in the entire world. I think it's only in Cuba and North Korea. I know it's only in 2 countries, but I need to confirm. But I know North Korea for a fact. I'll confirm about Cuba. I think it's just in these 2 countries that Coca-Cola doesn't have a presence. And according to the interview they did, I think about was it 5 years? In 2020. Yeah, that's 2 years ago. So the head honcho there, the CEO, was like they sell over 100 million bottles every day. 100 million bottles every day. And there are people like my former self that can't live on Coca-Cola. Like, I say my former self because I've been delivered from that, like, back in the days, like every day, especially in school. Like, I don't know, for some it's actually when we're young. That's how I believe that, back then they used to add cocaine to this, because we were introduced to Coca-Cola or Coke as children and all that. Somehow it became addictive and all that. If you're not taking Coke, you're taking Fanta. You find out like every party, like almost every day, you're taking this thing and all. So even with all this money, what I'm saying is that even with all this money they are making, you see them putting up adverts on social media, you see them putting on adverts on billboards and all that. So it's not as if they're trying to make money, they're just trying to stay relevant. Advertising is about you staying relevant. So when you've gotten that breakthrough, that's the thing that kills most of our young musicians in Nigeria, right? You did your first song was just massive. It was a street banger. Every club is playing your song, everything. And when I say this, you guys will know some people off the top of your head. Every street, every corner, they're playing your song and all that. And that's just it. Publicity brought you to the limelight, and you're not advertising yourself. You're not putting out something new. You're not doing anything. There's no contribution to the society. Nothing. You just off that one this thing, and after that you're dead. After that album has fly, because of course, like Nigeria, there's not just Nigeria, in the whole world, there's something always new. Almost like every 3 months and all that. Almost like every 2 months, there's something new. So advertising is more of like what you do to keep yourself relevant. That's how Coca-Cola stays relevant. That's how Coke stays relevant. Oh, we're advertising, and we're putting ourselves on billboards. We're showing you this. Well, it's not because they're trying to make extra money. Trust me, they are losing more from those advertising, because that thing is costing them. Coca-Cola spends an estimated $10 billion globally on advertising every year. That's what they spend. That's crazy money just on advertising. This is a brand, like I said, that sells 100 million bottles every day. Why you just imagine this? So that's why when you get to that top, whether as okay, let's use Okonjo-Iweala now. She has gotten to the top, like she's the World Trade Organization boss right now, and trust me, she's still advertising herself. She's still going on speaking engagement, talking about things that makes her Okonjo-Iweala. So when you get to that place where you've always dreamt of being as an employee, where your business get to that place where you always want to be, you're playing with the big boys now. I think it's arrogant if you decide, okay, let me fashy advertising right now because I've arrived. No, you're killing yourself. Because trust me, Coca-Cola knows that the moment they stop advertising, first of all, Pepsi will murder them. Pepsi Cola will murder them. And not just Pepsi, like maybe there's one other brand or one other product out there coming, that has been targeting them, waiting for them to slip up, and so that they can just jump on them. So remember that's the law of advertising. I think that's the 4th law, right? Now, the 5th is the law of the word. WORD, word, the law of the word. Now, the law of the word is it's basically states that a brand must strive to own a word in the mind of the consumer. As a business, you must strive to own a word in the mind of the consumer. And when I say a brand, please, I'm not just talking about businesses, I'm also talking about people. You as a person, you must strive to own a word in the mind of a consumer. Trust me. I feel humbled when I talk with people and they're like, oh, you are the guy I need to, someone referred me to you that I need to work on my brand identity. And then it's almost as if they're now putting the word brand identity to my name. Look at it, the word happiness. Still talking about Coca-Cola, where we've now associated the word happiness to Coca-Cola. So as a business, as a person, it's important for you to get people, it's important for you to own a word in the mind of people, in the mind of your consumers. It's something like what Indomie did, right? Today, when we talk about noodles, Indomie has killed it. People tend to forget, even when someone wants to go out and buy another noodle. See, even myself, aside from Indomie, I can't even remember any other noodles brand. Even when you're talking about other noodles brand, you still see that you use Indomie. Like, okay, go and buy me Indomie. The person might go and come back with another brand that is not Indomie. Or you might, I think, I'm trying to remember a name, but funny enough, I can't remember a particular name. Or the way when FedEx started with overnight shipping, like, you will get it overnight. You're going to get it over, like, we'll walk all through the night to make sure that you get this parcel the next morning, first thing, like, or no, like, yes, true. They're no longer doing it today because that's how they started. It just shows you the power of expansion, because they've now expanded globally and all that. Of course, you don't expect to get your stuff delivered from America to Nigeria overnight. It's not going to happen, except Benin Airways and all that. But FedEx own the word overnight. Coca-Cola owns the word happiness and all that. So you have to own a word. Let your business own a word. Let you as a person own a word. If people think about something like, oh, that's the marketing guru in our office, that's the sales guru in our office, that's the pitch deck guru, that's the business plan guru, that's the business developer guru. Own something. Make sure that people identify you with a word. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. The fact that today people can identify Yummy Drop with cake or cake delivery in Abuja, it means that, okay, we're doing something. I'm very humbled about that, and I thank God for His grace and all. And it also means that, okay, we're doing something right. So yeah, that's the law of the world. A brand must strive. And when I talk about a brand, I'm not just talking about business. So in case if you're just joining us here now, a brand is anybody. It can be you as a business, it can be you as a person. So you must strive to own a word in the mind of your consumers. Sorry, I'm seeing the pop-up like there are chats. I won't be able to go through them right now. I'll just finish up and then go through the chats, and in case if there's any question there. So the next law is what we call the law of category. And the law of category says that a leading brand should promote the category, not the brand. Now, when we talk about category, we're talking about it's just like the category of Yummy Drop, because I just want to use it so that you make it as basic as possible so that you get to understand. The category of Yummy Drop is cake delivery. Now, what we always try to do, we do not try to promote the brand, even in our advertising, or we don't try to promote Yummy Drop. What we try to do is promote cake delivery. So as a leading brand, what you must strive to do is promote whatever category you're playing in. If you're playing in the category of clothing, promote that category. Or if you're playing in the category, clothing is a general category, please. I always like people to niche down their category. Maybe your category is female clothes. Maybe your category is pregnant women clothes. Maybe your category is book. Maybe you're a library, you're a bookstore that your category is books for men, for married men. Promote that. Promote the category, not your brand. That's exactly that's the best way to run in terms of building your brand, or in terms of building your brand. Yes. So in terms of building your brand, now in the office, always promote that thing that you're known for. Do not talk about promoting your name. People will see it as okay, honestly, people get tired of like anytime we're hearing your name, your name, your name. But when you're promoting that thing you're known for, like you're talking, I always try to promote business building, brand building, aside to promoting my businesses, or whether it's AC Studio or brand. I always try to promote brand building, business building, and all that, because those are the categories I play in. When you promote those categories, people are like, oh yeah, this is the guy for this thing, and it keeps ringing in the head, it keeps ringing in the mind of people. You'll be amazed at what, when you keep showing things or you keep talking about something over and over again, you'll be amazed at how the mind, someone else's mind, it registers in their mind. They might not need it today because they don't need it, but immediately they need it, the brain goes to pick it up from wherever it dumped it, wherever it stored it, like, oh, this is the guy that is good at this, or this is the lady that is good at this. They've kept on saying, they've kept on talking to you about this. They're like, oh yeah, let me call him or her, or let me call that business and all that. So when it comes to the law of category, promote your category, and it's always important to promote your category, especially when you have strong competition. Now I tell people right now, Amazon is killing it when it comes to the commerce business, the online buying and selling e-commerce business. Amazon is killing it and all. Alibaba is restricted to just China and all, but Amazon is just killing it, and it's very foolish, pardon my language, very foolish to go up against Amazon in their own category. Like, Amazon is basically selling everything. Now, you want to start a business in Nigeria that is doing the same thing Amazon is doing. That's not a wise business strategy. You're going to kill yourself. First of all, you don't have the massive money Amazon has. Like, you don't have that. But now imagine that instead of selling everything that Amazon is selling, you decide to focus on just baby wears, baby clothes, baby, everything that has to do with baby toys and all. That is just what you focus on. You've created a new category out of a general category. You created a new category and you focused on that. Now, when people go to Amazon to buy something, especially people in Nigeria, and yes, they go to the baby section, but because Amazon is selling a whole lot of things and not focusing on any particular thing, they will not always have everything. Trust me, you've gone to Amazon to look for something, you couldn't, as in, I know it must have happened to someone here, you couldn't find that thing. That has happened to me. But then you remember that, Anne has, because over the years, Anne has been there's been massive publicity, and she's been talking about her category, everything, anything babies. And okay, what's the name of the business you give, like, and okay, and PLC, let's just put it that way. Everything baby wear, like anything when it comes to baby, like. So because Anne is specialized, because Anne is dealing in that category, you can trust that when you come there, you find more options in her shop, in her online shop, than you will find in Amazon, because she is focused in that category. She will go all out to get things that Amazon will not get, because that's too, like, it's just too heavy for them. That's the issue. So imagine now Anne is doing her publicity and Amazon is doing their publicity and advertising as well, and then Anne decides to like promote her brand. And this thing, like, and PLC, where when it comes to e-commerce, we are the number one. That's a lie. People will say, okay, you've lied there, because that's a lie. Amazon is obviously number one, or Alibaba or AliExpress is obviously number 2 or number 3, or eBay is number 4 or number, like, how can you say you're number 1 and all that? But when Ant says that when it comes to everything babies and all that, we are number 1, like, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that's what they're focused on. So that's the law of category. Now, the next law is the law of name. The law of name, it simply states that in the long run, a brand is nothing more than a name. So in the long run, a brand is nothing more than a name. Today, over 100 years, the name Coca-Cola is more prominent or more powerful than both the founder, whoever founded the business, or the CEO or their product. Like the brand name is more powerful. So that's why it's always important when I deal with businesses in my industries, and people come to me and like, oh, I want to start a business and my business is Okafor and Sons and all that. I look at you and like, okay, see, if you want something that's just going to be for you, you can name it anything. It's actually very important that you take out time to come up with a name, because at the end of the day, see, it's the names that we know. Apple, Google, Samsung, is the names that rings the bell, and especially when the name is short and memorable. Because Okafor and Okeke and Sons PLC, it's not memorable. I don't even know how I will type that on Instagram to find out. That's a lot of words going on there. So the name is always important. In the long run, your business is nothing but a name. That's the same way in the long run, you as a person is nothing but a name. People will not always remember everything you did, but they'll always remember your name. That's the thing. They will not always remember every particular detail, but they will always remember your name. So how you shape your name matters, especially in the mind of people. So your name should be catchy, it should be easy to pronounce, and your name should represent your personality and your image. That's what your name should do. Now, this is more or less talking in terms of, I think this will more or less focus on the business part more or less than you as a person, because of course our parents gave us our name, so it's not as if we branded we formed our name out of our personality and all. But we've seen people try to build their personality around their names and all. So that's how important your name is. As a business, you should actually put that name. Give more importance to it. It took me 2 months to come up with the name Yomi Drop, and that's not playing. As simple as the name might seem today, it took me 2 months to come up with the name. The name Nike. The name Nike took 8 months to come up with the name Nike. That's how crazy these things are. But today, it's people just say Nike, like as if it's you have to put in time. You have to invest a lot of time to talk about this name. You have to invest a lot of time to talk about invest a lot of time to come up with this name. So that's the law of name. Now, the law of quality. I think I have three more laws. So the next, that is the 7th. The 7th. Sorry, am I right? Sorry, the 8th. Sorry, the 8th law, the law of quality. Quality is important, but brands are not built by quality alone. Brands is actually built by perception, perceived quality. That is what builds a brand. Now, what do I mean by perceived quality? Now, and you guys, we know this for sure, because we are patronizing in particular, because you love Coke so much, because you love iPhone so much. Let's be real. It doesn't mean that iPhone is when it comes to quality, iPhone is the best. Let's be frank about it. With people they've done this field test before. So they got people, they blindfolded them. It's actually on on YouTube. They blindfolded them and they poured Coca-Cola and Pepsi in. Like, they just poured Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They were blindfolded and asked them to drink both. So we found out people were choosing Pepsi when they were blindfolded, because to them Pepsi was better. When they were blindfolded, people were choosing Pepsi over Coca-Cola. But then they brought in another set of people and then just gave them they were not blindfolded. They were just looking at it. They gave them Coca-Cola, they gave them Pepsi, and asked them to drink it. When after drinking it, they say Coca-Cola is better than Pepsi. So that is what perceived quality. That is what perceived quality is all about. Actually, it's the notion of quality. What the determinant in the mind of a buyer is the notion of quality. That perception that, oh, these guys like that. It's a perception. It's not a fact. It's a perception. That's how they buy. So you see people investing a lot of PR, investing a lot in publicity, investing a lot in advertising to tell you that they are the leader and all that, to tell you that the best. At the end of the day, when you use their product and use their competitors, you find out that, oh, their competitors is actually better. It's yes, I'm not I'm going to throw a subtle shade at iPhone users and all that. At the end of the day, see, we can put our AirPods and all that. At the end of the day, the AirPod, it's not the best when it comes to I'm talking about the Apple AirPod. It's not the highest quality when it comes to that. It's just been perceived to be. It has just been perceived to be, especially because it's more costly than others. But we've done the field test. At the end of the day, we'll find out that, But I'm not gonna say the brand because I'm also an Apple user, so I can't. That's the best I can do when it comes to differentiate an iPhone. So at the end of the day, we'll find out that the other brands are actually better, but then so perception has made it feel that Coca-Cola is better than Pepsi, and perception has made it feel like Apple is better than every other person. So that's why another way to build that perception. Let me just round up on this particular point here. Another way to build up perceived perception is if you are the first. Now, the reason why Coca-Cola can beat Pepsi is because Coca-Cola is actually the best. The reason why Amazon will kill any other brand that comes to compete in that industry is because Amazon is the first. The reason why people will tell you that Uber is better than Bolt is because Uber is the first. Well, sometimes people do think that Uber is this thing, but I don't know, Sha. It's just first. So that law of first, be the first. Try. I tell business owners this, and I also tell people this: try and be the first at a category. And you might be thinking that, people have taken all the categories. There are other businesses doing everything. Trust me, if you dig deep and find, it's just like a conversation I recently had with Tiola Chinenoka when I went to her house last year, because I was trying to avoid the food delivery industry in Abuja, thinking that it's saturated and all that. But with my conversation with her, I found out, there's actually a category I can create out of this, and I'm just looking at everybody to see if nobody will do that, because I want to take time to first build Yomi. If nobody will do that, don't worry. After building Yomi, I'll help Abuja people do that for them and all that. But so find a category, because I thought of that because Jumia Food is in Abuja. I know it's also in Lagos as well, and I'm like, Jumia Food is already here, and how can I be competing with them? But with the conversation I had with Chine, like, wow, there's actually a loophole that I can exploit. There's actually a place where I can draw out and create a category. So when you are the first, trust me, you can set what people say it's a high price, because in this world now, people use high when something is expensive, it means it's quality. Benz, designer bags, designer shoes, and all that, with all the so I'm going to make this see, if you're not careful in Nigeria, like 80% of everything we'll buy ridiculously expensive in Nigeria and call them designers. Especially for people in Abuja that visit all these malls in Abuja, they are fake. They are fake designers and all that. But then now, because they're expensive, is when you travel out, you know that you're actually wearing a fake Gucci, that you can't actually afford the original Gucci shirts and stuff like that. But that's, people have attributed high, as in big money to something, and then that's quality. So the ninth law, and I'll just quickly round up on this, is the law of extensions. And it's it's more of like still talking about the first law, and the law is the easiest way to kill a brand is to put its name in everything. That's the easiest way to kill a brand, because in putting the name in everything, you're weakening the brand. It's the same thing that happened with Star. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that is happening with Dangote. But the thing is that, because I'll be very, especially when I have forums like this, you will never see me in talking about capitalism, in talking about businesses, in terms of capitalism, talk about Dangote, because Dangote is just a government-funded operation. Government is the one keeping it alive, and that's how they can be messing up and everything and still be where they are, because at the end of the day, government is keeping them where they are. But it's our beer industry. It's in the beer industry that you find this a lot, because they always try to put their name in everything. Starlight, Star Radler, Star this, Star that, Gouda this. It was Gouda that when they saw the how successful Gouda Ultimate Search became and all, and decided to I felt like it was arrogance. Decided to go to Gouda Max. They did Gouda Max, if you can remember, for all our beer drinkers. They decided to go to they brought Gouda Max for the more masculine men, and it made no sense, because the original Gouda in itself is already masculine. Why will you bring Gouda Max? Today Gouda Max is dead, the same way Relish Indomie is dead and all that. So the easiest way to kill your brand is to just put your name in everything. Put your name in everything. Someone like, oh, I want to start up this business of hair, this thing, like, and yeah, you like the the what do you call these guys? The Cold Stone in, okay, I'll use Abuja. The Cold Stone in Abuja is not Cold Stone. These pizza guys. Oh, guys, please help me out. Like, this pizza guys that Domino's. Thank you very much. So Domino's Pizza. The pizza guys, they're different from the Domino's outside. Like, they are different from the Domino's outside Nigeria and all. Because when you taste the Domino's we have here in Abuja, it tastes like sawdust. I don't know. I don't know how that happens. And the same thing with Pizza Hut. Like, and you find out that it's different from what we have outside there and all. I don't know how Burger King recently came to Lagos. I don't know how good that Burger King is, because you find out when people are now, because of this whole franchising thing, you're putting your name, because of the money, you're putting your name in everything. You're weakening your brand and all that, and at the end of the day, you're just becoming a generalist, and generalists are seen as weak brands, while specialists are seen as a strong brands. Now, the last but definitely not the least is what we call the law of company. Now, the law of companies says brands are brands, companies are companies. We must know the difference. Now, at the end of the day, sorry, can you guys hear me, please? Can someone? Hello? Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much. So, the law of company just, like I said, it means that your brand name should be more out there than the company name, in the sense that the best way to define this is, we know we have Sprite, Fanta, and Everwater, and they are all products of Coca-Cola. And when you bring a Fanta, when you bring Everwater, or when you bring Sprite, you see the name Sprite, you see the name Fanta. It's when you go deep and start looking around, that's when you see it's a product of the Coca-Cola company, and you see that over and over again. Eversoap, this people, the brand is more out there. So when naming your brand, you want people to be able to use your brand name, not your company name. Like, you want people to know you by your brand name, not your company name. Imagine how ridiculous it would have sounded if we were calling it Coca-Cola Sprite, or Coke Sprite, or Coke Fanta. How ridiculous it would have been. But right today we call it Sprite, Fanta, Everwater, and all. And at, at the end of the day, they are all from Coca-Cola. The same way with Lexus. Lexus if you don't know, Lexus is actually made by Toyota, but you see it defined on its own, Lexus and all, but you see Toyota still has its own. If you go to Instagram or social media, you see that Coke has its different account, Sprite has its different account, Fanta has its different account and all. The only company that has failed in this aspect is Microsoft, in terms of Microsoft Word. Now, because they couldn't, Word is a generic word, because they couldn't own the Word. It now became Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. They have to add their name. But at the end of the day, you're a strong brand when people can remember your brand and not necessarily your company name. See, if you want to know something tricky and all that, like when you go to buy your favorite cream or your favorite soap, just forget about the brand name written there and try and look at the owners of the product. You'll be surprised that a lot of these competitions, in terms of like the other soap that is supposedly a competition to the soap you're using, or the other cream that is supposedly a competition to the cream you're using, is actually made by the same company and all. But at the end of the day, it's the brand name that matters. So yeah, so that's my own take, as in that's my own selection in terms of the 10 immutable laws when it comes to branding. Anna and Daughters International Limited. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Victor, you said the first law I talked about is the law of expansion. That's the first law I talked about. And yeah, so see, at this point, I don't know if there is any question. I'd love to take any question or any clarification. Let me make any clarification before I jump out here. Okay, so the 10 laws. Now let me quickly run through them. So we have the first law, which is the law of expansion, and it just states that the power of a brand is inversely proportional to its scope. Now the second law is the law of contraction. A brand becomes stronger when you narrow its focus. The third law is the law of publicity. The birth of a brand is achieved through publicity and not advertising. Now the fourth law is the law of advertising, and the law states that once born, a brand needs advertising to stay healthy. The fifth, I believe, is the law of word, which is a brand must strive to own a word in the mind of the consumer. The next is the law of category. A leading brand should promote the category, not the brand. Then the next is the law of the name. In the long run, a brand is nothing more than a name. So in the long run, what we know about a brand is just the name. Then the next is the law of quality. Quality is important, but brands are not built by quality alone. So you can't build your brand just on quality alone. Now the next law is the law of extensions. The easiest way to kill a brand is to put its name on everything. That's the easiest way to kill a brand. And then last but not the least is the law of the company, which is brands are brands, companies are companies. There's a difference. So know the difference between both.